There's 5 home invaders. All of them don't have weapons. They're ready to throw down with their fists against your husband. Would you prefer he has his hands or a gun?
Hands.
Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, are you dumb?
I think she's dumb.
We ready to go? You ready to move? Let's go! Welcome to the J&O Show, where we talk about things that we were never told. I'm Jay. And I'm O. And now you know. Hey. What up, y'all? Explosions all over the place. Wait, she did not just jazz his. Oh, gosh.
All right, y'all. So today we're about to do this reaction from the Poor Man's Podcast Reacts. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Been a minute. OnlyFans girl loses debate to Christian man.
Interesting.
This should be very interesting.
Yeah. I like my women like I like my microwave in my kitchen and working.
I owed him
You're a victim.
Okay, so if that's true, if men are the enforcement mechanism, why does that then mean that women's equality is a bad idea?
Well, I didn't say it was a bad idea. I mean, it is, but what my position is that it's laughable that egalitarianism is even possible because women have no way to enforce their rights. They have to use men to enforce their rights. So since they have to use men to enforce their rights, they don't really have any rights because all the rights come from men.
But why does the notion of egalitarianism have to be predicated on physical strength or like who gets to enforce it?
Well, what else could it be predicated on?
Principles of like what's best for society.
And what happens if somebody violates those principles?
Equal,
Sure.
Like why would it be based off the enforcement?
What happens if somebody violates those principles?
What do you mean?
Well, so if you have a society in which you have laws and government and things like this and whatever social contracts you come up with, what happens if one side violates those principles, or a person or an individual or a group violates those principles? What would you do with them? You would, well, I would think arrest them maybe, or punish them, or do something punitive, or put them in prison or something like that. And so you're right back to the enforcement mechanism again. So there's really no way around it. The enforcement mechanism is from men, will always be from men. And so it's paradoxical to say that women can have equal rights, because even if they do have equal rights, it's just because men have allowed them to.
But does that make women's equality laughable or like an absurd idea?
Well, it's paradoxical on its face, so it has to be laughable, because there is never going to be such thing as women's equality, just an illusion thereof, because if it's decided by even a small majority of men, majority being like 10, 15, 20%, they just won't have it anymore, and there's nothing they can do about it. So essentially always they have to defer to men for this.
Sure, your entire neighborhood one day can just decide
Okay, this is not what I put this in here for.
Come on now, dog.
But it was very interesting.
Okay.
Because I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. In the video that I saw, that was different. A guy said women should not be upset with men in the West about the position in which they find themselves in society. Then, of course, the person obviously would be like, why shouldn't they be upset with men? Why shouldn't feminists be upset? And he said, well, if men in the West didn't believe that women were equal or deserved to be equal, then they wouldn't have the laws in place and be doing what they're doing now for women to be equal. The only reason that women in Western society now are equal is because the men in that society decided that it was fair and right for them to be so. Otherwise, they would have suppressed them like they do in every other country in the world that is not of our mindset, and said, no, we're not going to do it. Shut up, sit down, get in the kitchen, cook me something to eat, and don't say nothing.
Damn.
Because they have the might, more so than the other countries, to subdue their women. Because you have to think these Western countries are the most powerful countries in the world.
Do you not know who I am? He must not know who I am. I'm the juggernaut. I'm bad. I'm the baddest in the world.
So we as men generally have even more might than men in other countries to subdue our women. And now I was just sitting there, like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, I never thought about it like that. Yeah, why they mad at us? Don't make no sense. We feel like y'all equal and y'all should be equal, and we on y'all side. So why y'all fighting us?
Because women over here don't think that way. They don't think about.
I know. I didn't even think that way.
Women over here, myself included, for the most part, we're not thinking about women in other countries, in Eastern countries, and things of that nature, and how things are over there.
Right.
We're thinking about just how things are over here, and really not coming to the realization unless it's like put into your face. And even then, a lot of times they just don't want to hear it. That, like he said, if men didn't think that it's worth women having equal rights, we wouldn't be so free over here, and we wouldn't have the rights that we do have. Obviously, they do think that, or else we would be like how some of these Eastern countries are when it comes to their women. So
These are thoughts. These are things that make you say,
Yeah, that was thorough. That's not why everybody doing compilations like these long form videos are TikToks. And so what I want, I have to make sure I click the timestamp. So we gonna skip ahead.
You said you'd prefer a guy who does self-defense using other methods. Are we talking like with his
Oh,
fist?
not like that. I just mean, like, I think a gun is a bit extreme. Like, if, like, because most people would argue, like, for a legally obtained firearm in, like, a circumstance of self-defense. Like, if someone breaks into your home, like most people would argue for that. I'm just saying, like, I personally would prefer a different, I don't know. Like,
There's 5 home invaders. All of them don't have weapons. They're ready to throw down with their fists against your husband. Would you prefer he has his hands or a gun?
hands.
You don't want. He's gonna
I don't
get
want
the
them
shit,
dying
he's
if
gonna
they're
get the
just
shit
coming into
kicked
my
out of him.
house.
What if after they kill him they want to you? Wouldn't you want him to have a gun in that instance?
Whoa, I didn't think they were gonna kill him.
Well, I mean, they're home invaders. If he's gonna
That
fight them,
doesn't. Just because you invade someone's home doesn't mean you're gonna kill them.
like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, are you dumb?
I think she's dumb.
I think she's dumb.
I think she's dumb.
Bruh. Listen. I mean, poor thing. Listen.
You serious?
It
That
could be
was crazy.
It could be because she seems young.
Yep.
She still has probably a certain perspective on the world.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
sweetie, you're not asking questions somebody break into your house. You don't know what they got. First of all, the fact that they crazy enough to do that.
Yep.
You break into the house, whatever happens to you, that's on you. Because you decided to take that chance. Because
Right.
you don't know who live in the house. You don't know what they got. You don't know how crazy they are. They aren't.
You don't know. You don't know.
So it's just like, yeah, no. Like, I'm sorry because you break into the house. I don't know what type of crazy you may or may not be. So I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah. That was bananas. I honestly, looking at this video, I have no clue why the heck I sent this to us. It might have been the first point because the second one seemed just ludicrous.
Yeah.
But since it's there, here's one of the issues that I have, and I'm linking this to something else. This is the issue that I have with the Keke Palmer situation. And there was another situation that we reacted to where a woman was stopped on the street and asked the question with her husband there about
About her attire.
Her attire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the issues that I have. This is how a lot of women who talk to their men and their husbands, this is how, like this woman right here that we just watched, this is how y'all look when y'all argue with us about the stuff that you can and can't wear outside of the house. Especially if we're there with you, but also if you're by yourself. Because the reality is a lot of women go, I don't think anybody should be able to tell me what I wear. I'm a free citizen. I should be able to wear whatever I want. You're right. You should be able to wear whatever you want. But we don't live in this fantasy Disney world that exists in your head where people actually act in the best interest of other people, where people are nice. As a matter of fact, you probably not even the nicest person. So, in your Disney fantasy world, you can go out and wear whatever you want to, and men are not physically attracted to you. They don't feel that it's an instance where they should approach you. You wearing a certain thing will get you unwanted attention. We don't live in a world where if somebody sees that you're with another guy, that they'll automatically back off. We live in a world where those are not the things that always happen.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I've even been in situations where I've been out with my girlfriend and she wasn't dressed risque because I didn't date women who dressed risque, but I always have cute to pretty girlfriends. I'm sorry. I ain't had no booger wolves. We had some regular girls. I had some cute girls. I had some pretty girls. So they would have guys go, "Oh, she cute." The guys were not always automatically stopped when it came to them wanting to approach the girl because they saw that I was with her. Sometimes, and I think it's like maybe I would say on 2 occasions specifically, the guy continued to do something to either interject himself into our situation, or he just blatantly walked up to her. One time he blatantly walked up to her when I was there, and another time a guy tried to sort of interject himself. One time was when me and you went out with our peoples when we was still in Jersey, and we were trying to get through the crowd, but it was mad dense, so we all linked hands and was trying to walk through the line. We were walking through the line, and I was last. I was behind everybody, and I was just walking.
Oh, I remember.
A guy tried to come up and break my hands with my wife. So he walked up and he literally grabbed my hand and tried to push it off her hand while I was grabbing her because he wanted to talk to my wife. He saw her. And of course, me being me, it didn't turn into anything crazy. The whole purpose of me holding my hand wasn't to gently grab her hand as we walked through the crowd so that I can delicately hold you. I was holding her hand because I was making sure that my wife, who she was at that time, she was my wife, would not be separate. I believe you were already married.
Yeah, we were.
I was making sure that the safety of my wife was guaranteed. So I was holding on. So when he tried to push my hand off of her, it didn't go anywhere. And I looked him up and down like he had 3 heads. And I was like, do that bullshit again. Now, the funny thing is, the rest of my crew that was with me, they were ahead of me. They're gone. And it's so tight that we're like, this. So they don't even know what's going on. My wife, she just felt the tug. She looked down. I don't know what she saw, because it was just a split second. And I was like, do that bullshit again. All right, my G, my bad. He was drunk. Him seeing us together didn't stop him from trying to interject himself. Because after we passed, I look back, of course, now that I see the dude, I don't know him. We in Jersey too. So I'm just like, yo, I don't know who he is. I don't know what he got on him. I don't know what he's thinking. So I got my eye on him. So as we walking away, he's still sitting there looking at, and then he's trying to eye you to see your body, but it's too crowded. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just looking at him like, bro, you caught the wrong one, bro. I'm gonna be beating on you until tomorrow. Then the other time, somebody literally walked up to me. Man, this was not you. This is before you. Somebody literally walked up to the girl. And in this instance, I laughed at him and I said, go ahead, shoot your shot. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Knock yourself out. Because number one, if she entertains you, she wasn't for me. She was for the streets. I don't want her. Number two, I already knew how she was going to play him. And of course, she embarrassed him. And then afterwards, I laughed at him. And I was like, come on. And we just left. Here's the issue with all of that stuff, right? In those situations, they weren't even dressed a certain way. That was off of facial, and most of the girls, they used to know how to dress. So they was together. So they would get interest in that way. For the women who want to go out and want to dress themselves in a certain way that's provocative, in a way that will entertain attention from other men. Part of the reason your guy doesn't want you dressing a certain way is not only because the guy might approach you and you can attract unwanted attention from guys, it's also because you're putting me in danger.
Yeah.
Because if I meet the guy that's disrespectful enough to see that we're together and still step to you because he don't care, or maybe because he's 6'5", you're putting me in danger now, because now I'm in a position to have to defend your honor.
Oh, hell no.
Even if I want to back off, that situation doesn't always happen. If you don't believe me, just start looking stuff up on the internet and you'll start seeing cases of boyfriends and husbands being killed by somebody who wanted to step to their mate, to their woman, to their girlfriend, to their wife. It happens because men live in a different world than women. We all here on Earth, but our Earth is Earth 2 and your Earth is Earth 1. And the rules of engagement for how we deal with each other, which is a part of the reason that egalitarianism is a problem, is hard for a woman to ever understand what it's like to be a man. Because a lot of women get into men's faces and they talk to them all types of crazy, but you don't understand, you're always a woman. A man is not going to react to you the same way he would a man. If a man did what you as a woman are doing to somebody, they would be fighting already. He can't touch you, so you get to jump. I wish you would touch me. If another dude was doing that, we would have been fighting 5 minutes ago.
Very true.
The rules of engagement are different. We live in a completely different world. And that's what I brought out of that. Like, that's how a lot of times when we talk to women about what they wear, I don't want you to go here because I won't feel like it's safe. Not the controlling dude that don't want you to go nowhere ever at all anyway. There's a controlling dude, and you have to understand that there are levels to this. A lot of people just think the only thing that exists in the world are extremes.
Right.
There are levels. There's a guy who is overly controlling and would just be like, he don't want you to go nowhere. He don't want you to do anything. He don't even want you to see your family. So there's people that's like that. And that's one of the keys to finding somebody who's controlling. If they don't even want you to be around family members, your mama, your daddy, your sisters, and stuff like that, unless they like sell, you know.
They out there slinging.
Unless they out there slanging or something like that. If your family crazy, you know, they all Bloods, they all Crips. If it's outside of like that, but if it's just regular family members that are around you all the time and he's trying to separate you from, that's one of the things you look for to see if somebody is overly controlling.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
That's a sign. But most guys don't want you walking out wearing stuff that's revealing. It ain't got nothing to do with your freedom. It has to do with danger. And y'all don't understand how men react to each other. You can say what you want to about how the way men should be, how it could be, but that ain't what it is.
Right.
Men still relate to each other in a very primal level. I think the Reverend Minister Kevin Samuels always used to say that there was always a low-level threat of violence between men, which makes them speak to each other respectfully because I don't know you, I don't know how crazy you are. And you tend to find that the men who tend to be the most respectful tend to be 6'4", 250 pounds. I'm twice the size of most dudes anyway, so I don't care. But most of us who is regular size, we understand if you crazy at 5'8", I'm only 5'9", brother. Like that's a real fight. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know if you train MMA. They got MMA out now. They got Krav Maga. They teaching you like martial arts they teach in the military to disarm people and break their wrists in 13 different places so that they can. I'm not doing that. I don't know what you do. And it'd be the most regular looking dudes. They don't all have cauliflower ears. Some of them jokers be looking mad regular. MTR has been practicing martial arts, he said, for like 10 years or more. He don't look like a dude that knows martial arts. He just looks like a regular dude. Yes, he's tall. He's like 6'2". But he look like a regular dude. I wouldn't know. If he's 5'8", but he still has that training, I do not want to mess with you. I don't. And I don't know that about you. So the way men relate is different. So just think about that. I don't think that's what we started the video. That's what I wanted to talk about, but that's what came up.
Yeah, well, I don't know. This was an interesting video.
Bruh,
Comment down below on part 1 and 2.
I don't know what the heck I was
about the
thinking.
first clip and the second clip. What are your thoughts?
I don't know.
Let us know.
Anyway, all right, well, that's going to be it. Video's long enough. I got to edit this crap, man. I'll see y'all guys later. I don't know. I'll be doing this to myself.
Press the off button.